Coming Clear, Jennifer. Jennifer, Coming Clear.
So first, an introduction. Have you ever watched an episode of Hoarders on the channel A&E? Has anybody? A couple of you. Well, if not, I'm sure you've heard the term hoarder and know what it means. It's defined as a complex mental health disorder that involves excessively saving items and not being able to throw them away. It creates unsanitary conditions that pose health hazards to the hoarder and their family members. The TV show is not only painful to view, although you'd agree with me if you ever watched it, it's very difficult to look away from. It may make watchers wonder if they have a bit of schadenfreude or a propensity for taking pleasure in the pain of others. I almost feel a little bit guilty about watching something like that. I'm going to read an excerpt from the memoir Coming Clean by Kimberly Ray Miller. In it, she explores what it was like to grow up with parents who were hoarders and the conflict between their dangerous and unsanitary lifestyle with their love and support for her in other aspects. So we all live in the midst of contradictions, right? And Kimberly, the author, attributed her deep shame in her parents and her surroundings as the force that actually drove her to be successful, kind of paradoxical. Being successful validated that she was okay. Kimberly also attributed her father's hoarding to the early loss of loved ones. Love is a lifeline, right? Yet it opens us up to the potential of terrible loss and pain. And hoarders must hold on to everything. Her book opens with the following quote: "What shames us, what we fear most to tell, does not set us apart from others. It binds us together if we can only take the risk to speak." So maybe the show Hoarders serves another purpose besides satisfying the desire to take joy in someone else's misery. Maybe it helps us come clean and give away our shame, and helps others gain a little understanding of someone else's plight. Coming clean. I have a box where I keep all the holiday, birthday, just because cards that my friends and family sent to me, tokens of their love and thoughtfulness. And there's a part of me that can't stand to throw these things away. Now, I don't need these cards. I don't take them out and look at them every day. But there's that little part of me that thinks maybe, just maybe one day, I'll need to remember those moments and those people, and I'll be able to open that box and go back again. This is as close as I can come to understanding how my father thinks about things. He loves stuff. Papers and pens and radios, things that are broken and cheap, and things that remind him of things that he once liked, and things that remind him of me, and of things that I once liked. And that same can't bear to let it go away that I feel about cards. He sees 1,000 futures for a broken radio, 9-year-old articles from the New York Times that he's yet to read, and one specific purple pen. Let me tell you about that pen. He used a purple pen one time when I came home from kindergarten crying because I couldn't write the lowercase letter A. And I sat in his lap and we spent hours writing with that purple pen until I mastered the A. My father is a hoarder. I can say that now, and you probably know what I'm talking about. Maybe you know someone who's a hoarder, or maybe you loosely throw that word around to describe your messy roommate. But hoarder is now commonly in our vernacular. When I was growing up, there was no such word as hoarder, and I thought there was nobody, no family in this world that was like my family. None of my friends abandoned entire rooms of their house to things that lived there instead of people. They weren't pushed off of couches and beds by piles of clothes and stacks of paper and knickknacks. When I turned 18, I stopped thinking about the house that I grew up in. I didn't forget it or block it out. I chose not to remember it. And then, after 8 years of not remembering, in the middle of my clean little grown-up life, all perfect and pretty, I started having nightmares. In this dream, I'm always getting ready to clean up. I don't know where to start, so I do what I always do when I procrastinate. I go to get a snack. And in this dream, I'm trudging barefoot through the downstairs hallway, through the den, and eventually the kitchen. I can feel under my feet mashed newspapers between my toes, not so different from the way that you would feel sand close to the ocean. I tiptoe around the debris in my path, conscious that there's probably something sharp and dangerous beneath the sludge, paper, and old clothing. As I look through the kitchen, I'm keenly aware that I do not want to open that refrigerator. It's been abandoned for years, and what exists inside is a soupy mess of rotten food. Instead, I look around the countertops. In the bread box, what was once a loaf of Wonder Bread is now a shrunken heap of moss and maggots. Ramen soup is safe, I think. But when I open the package, there are bugs inside that too. Now, bugs don't faze me in my dream, and they didn't in my adolescence either. I was used to them. I don't throw it out. I just put it back on the counter. What's the use of throwing anything away? These are the kind of dreams that jar me from my perfect life in the middle of my sleep, in the middle of my mind, in the middle of the night. My mind doesn't always catch up, and it takes me a minute or so to realize that I'm not in my childhood home. So I have to call my mom. She's quite possibly the only person who understands how deep my scars run. And I know when I call her, she will apologize. She always apologizes. She's been apologizing for as long as I can remember, but I can never forgive her enough for her to forgive herself. She says when I call her, I warned you, one day you won't be able to pretend everything was okay, and you're going to hate us. My mom is right more often than not, and she's right that everything was not okay. Those memories are still there in the place in my mind I put them years ago. But my mother is wrong about one thing. I do not hate her or my father. Sure, I remember the dirt and the rats and the squalor, but I also remember parents who loved me, doting, fallible people who gave me everything they had and a whole lot more.